Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Unleash Your Startup Potential for Scaling Your Success, with our VP of Startups, Pascal Condamine. So thank you so much for coming. My name is Andrea. I'm from the marketing team, and I'll be introducing this webinar. So this is going to be our agenda. Pascal will walk us through like the business, product, tooling, processes, infrastructure, human resources, and legal to take your startup to the next level. But before we move on, I'd like to introduce like a very short introduction about Scaleway. We are the empowering cloud provider. We want to be your ally in your ventures. So we have 3 European regions. We have 9 data centers. We have more than 20 years of experience in building cloud services. We have more than 25,000 happy customers. And we are here to offer you a suite of cloud and AI solutions tailored to your needs. And of course, we have a focus on security and reliability. We provide you a GDPR compliant environment for your startups. And also, we, like our in-house developed software, prioritize European IP offering, innovation and security to meet European standards. And of course, we're backed by Iliad Group, which is a major player in telecoms. And they have like decades of expertise in supporting startups and like all this business in the tech ecosystem to growth. So now I introduce you to my dear colleague, Pascal. By the way, before, there is a question tab. Feel free to just like pop up your questions there. And if you have any comments, you can do it on the chat. And after our session, we're going to have a Q&A space. Thank you. And welcome, Pascal.
Thank you, Andrea. Good morning, everyone. Really happy to be with you today. So I'm Pascal Condamine. I'm VP Startup at Scaleway. A little bit about me. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I created 2 companies in the past, one in web marketing and another one in e-commerce, selling paraveterinarian products for cats, dogs, and horses. And then move on to work for an American company called Indiegogo that does crowdfunding. And I was based in Europe doing startup awareness about our platform, and joined Scaleway 4 years ago to kickstart our startup program. Some of you may already be part of it or have been part of it. So I got the chance over my professional life to work more with thousands and thousands of startups. And since our startup program started, we had the chance to work with more than 1,000 startups, either that have passed through or are still in the program. So the idea of this morning, of this day, is to share with you my personal experience and what I've got out of all these years working in the startup ecosystem. I was trying to find some number about the how many startups do we have in Europe, and believe me or not, that was really complicated to find like a number. So here are some few numbers about startups in different countries. Germany with almost 2,500 and more than 1,600 in France and Spain. But the sad thing is, sadly, 90% of all the startups will fail, either in the short term, middle term, or long term. Within 10 years, 90% of startups will fail. And the goal of today's webinar is to share all my insights and what I've seen and good practices in the ecosystem to give you the keys to maybe and hopefully not fail and get your startup as far as possible. So the first advice would be think international from the start. It's something that if we look at the US or if we look at some very small countries that don't have a big local market, very early on they think international from the start. But for countries like France, Spain, Poland, Germany, when you have a local market that is already like middle size, that's very easy to think local first, see how things are going to go, and then later on think on a larger scale. And it really changes the mindset on and your strategy on how the vision on how you will go. Because, for example, if you take a name of a French name or German name for your company, that is not going to make any sense when you want to go abroad. It's really important to think it from the start. More importantly, I've been discussing with a lot of startups, challenging them, and it's really the thing I like on what's the problem you are trying to solve. Is it really a problem that is not a manufactured problem, or it's not a problem that really a few people have? What's the market size that your solution is going to solve? And importantly also, what's your go-to-market strategy? Because it's one thing to have the best product and work a lot on the product, but if you don't have a good go-to-market strategy, how are you going to get people to know about your product and excited about your product and buy it to make it sustainable? Second point that I'd like to see, and Andrea, if you have any advice, since you're also in the ecosystem as much as I am, feel free to jump in and complete if you have.
Thank you.
Build your product with your first customers, and that for me is really important. And it's the feedback I got from a startup that we have in the program. We're saying we went to this event and we got the chance to discuss with people who were interested in our solution, who actually helped us and gave us feedback in developing the solution. And they were our alpha or beta users. And later on, they become paying customer, and they're also their ambassador. So it's build your product with your customer to match as much as possible what your customers or future customers, paying customers really want and what you think should be. And these customers, because you involve them from the start, these customers are going to become your best ambassadors because they are going to feel part of the project, and it's going to be a little bit of their baby as much as it's yours. And another advice will be launch quick and iterate fast. It's gonna give you a lot more flexibility, a lot more matching to what's expected from the market, and improve and fix also bugs and any issues you may have with the solution. The third part I wanted to see also is tooling and processes. It's really important and potentially when you are very a small startup with just 2, 3, 5 people, might be like, why should I spend so much time on building processes? And I think it's even more potentially important that side. Mostly the processes tools are important, and you should have the best tools to give you agility and structure. Like you have plenty like Notion, like Slack, like all the tools that you need to build and structure your company. But the processes are very important. My background is in biotechnology, so I work in molecular biology, and you document everything and you write all the protocols every day. And even if it's the same thing you do, you still write it down every day in your lab book. And in that culture, I still kept it because it's it's important that if someone in your company leaves, that you don't lose all the knowledge that this person had. So all the process needs to be documented, that if a new person joins your company, they just have to take the process and follow the steps in order to be able to do the work and not rebuild everything from scratch and lose time on doing that. So writing and processes are very important. And thanks, Andrea, for putting in the chat an article where we give you some tools to launch and scale your startup. In that mindset, I would also say English first, if possible, as much as you can, because the day you are going to scale, changing the culture of the company, going from French to English or German to English or Polish to English, is going to be more painful if you didn't think it from the start and have this mindset culture of speaking English and being able to onboard people from different countries. They're going to have to speak. You're going to have to speak English. So that is also extremely important. I saw it in my team where I had people from all around Europe. And so our common language was English. And it's really important. Fourth point, build your infrastructure ready to scale from the start. And that is, of course, we are a cloud provider and it's part of what we do and support the startups with. But redundancy of your data, don't have all your eggs in the same basket. Our products, like Andrea mentioned, we have 9 data centers over 3 regions. So gives you flexibility to do redundancy of the data, don't have everything at the same place, and be sure you have backup, also local backups of your data. Build your infrastructure responsibly. That's also the mindset of our startup program in giving the cloud credits monthly instead of in a big chunk, because we want entrepreneurs to be responsible. If we give you 100K, potentially it's going to be more convenient or easy solution to take big machines and not build the infrastructure in the same way that you would do if you have limitation, and which means the day you are going to not have credits anymore and you need to pay for your infrastructure, at least with us, the FinOps is not going to be as important if needed, actually FinOps, but because you will have built your infrastructure in a way that it's scalable in the future. Avoid locked-in vendors. Be mindful of proprietary solutions. I really hate this word. Proprietary solutions, but also the egress fees that would lock you in, and in order to get your data, you have to sell a kidney. So that is really important. And that data sovereignty, we see it more and more with startup joining or wanting to join our startup program, just because their customers are asking, where are my data stored? Is it in Europe? Is it with a European cloud provider? And it's going to be the same for public sector, working with administrations or big corporates that are going to ask to have the data stored in Europe by a European cloud provider, but also potentially some grants coming from EU where it's going to be mandatory as well. So think it also when you build your infrastructure. The right team at the right time, and that is also the first. You probably have heard it before, but the hiring of the first employee is also very important, because it's the first, it's a big expense usually for a very small company, but it's also the one who is going to level up the company and help you build it and go faster. So hire experienced people, I know that when you are a small company, you potentially don't have a lot of cash and money to hire experienced people, but do it as much as you can because it's going to help you go faster and save time. Don't hire just a bunch of trainees that you need to take time to train, uh, and you lose 2 or 3 months in training very junior people that are still going to need your support and your help until they really step up and level up. So important on this one. Hire multilingual people, just because it's going to be bring different culture that is very enriching on different perspective. Also to go international, they'll support you and help you, and being sure that the language and the culture is correct. Um, and very important also, build your company culture. What makes you as a company, as a brand for the company to attract talents? What makes your strength? Which values do you want to um, vehiculate and show to people to attract them? So build your company culture. Takes time as founders on what makes us a great company that people want to come and join. It's not about just on having fun and going to all in days outside, traveling, or having games at the office. It's also really the core values of your company. Like I was mentioning at the beginning, think big from the start and the international part. And this one is really important on the legal side because uh, you are going to develop potentially locally or on in stealth mode or with you in alpha or beta release, and work with you. But as soon as you want to sell abroad, are you ready for it? Do you have the customer support that is going to be able to answer in the language of the countries you want to sell to? Um, is from a legal point of view, are your terms of use or terms of services updated and correct to sell internationally? And also from the IP protection, are you covered correctly? Like in France, we have INP that French entrepreneurs can contact and ask for advice and so on. I'm sure every country has its own governmental agency that can support with that. So um, don't you don't want to start to sell under a brand that is potentially copyrighted somewhere else. And it's not only dealing with a lawsuit, but it's also dealing with rebranding and everything. So um, important to take that into account. Some few tricks and advice I will give is as an entrepreneur, it's all about the mindset and how you go and tackle the go outside and talk to people and tackle the market. So an entrepreneur never says no and always finds a solution. If the only reason should about no is because it takes too much time, it's too much energy, too much cost. But even that, how much can you find an alternative and still find a solution? No shouldn't be the first answer that comes to mind, and should come only after a educated um, situation on I've measured what's a positive, what's a negative, what's the impact and what I have to lose, how much resources will it take, and depending on that, you're going to say yes or no, but no shouldn't be the first answer. An entrepreneur is agile and adapts to all situations. It's very similar to the previous one on be flexible, because um, you'll see as you grow and scale, the agility is going to become a lot harder. But when you are still a very few people, being agile and adaptive to almost all situations, it's a lot easier. It might require a lot of energy, might require time, might require maybe money, but it's still a lot easier to do and will help you go faster and potentially also be more open-minded to opportunities that may present. An entrepreneur builds a valuable network, which follows what I just said. Go out as much as possible to conferences, to meetups. Go challenge and go talk about your idea and get it challenged by experienced people at these events. And you might think your idea is exceptional and you are the only one who have it. Just know that's not the case. It's there is few chances that your ideas is super original that nobody had it, and it's more about execution and how you are going to do it, and that will be also accelerated by how you build your network. Who are going to be the people you discuss with that are going to help you in the future, either finding the right people to join your company, evangelize your company because they like you and they like what you do and they understood what you are proposing as a solution. But you should, one strong advice is when you build your network, you shouldn't be transactional. You don't do it because you expect automatically a business relationship or something. You do it because you want to do good, and that's probably a different mindset. But and it doesn't always. It's hard to match it with a business, mostly when you're a little bit struggling financially. But build a network in a genuine and non-commercial, non-transactional way. Ask people how you can support them, and there is nothing in saying, "Sorry, I cannot help you." If I could, I would, but on this I cannot help. But it will come back on the long term in being. It's gonna make you also a key person, a key people in the ecosystem by attending, being known, being seen, and a supportive member of the ecosystem. I think that's the last one, but like I was saying, when you go to events or meetups and meet people, as an entrepreneur and as a founder, you carry the spirit and the ambition of the company. Depending on how excited, how sure, how passionate you are about your company, and the value you carry and how you behave with people, it's going to reflect on how people are going to want to support you and help you and be also excited and ambassadors of your company and your solution. If you want to apply to our startup program, here is a QR code. I'll leave it a few seconds. Like I was saying, we have been supporting more than 1,000 startups over the past 4 years. We have different programs depending on the maturity of the ecosystem. I love meeting with the entrepreneurs who are joining our program. Our office is in Paris. So if you have never been and would like to grab lunch with us at the office, just feel free to send me a message. And also here is the QR code to connect with me on LinkedIn if we are not already. So you can just send me a LinkedIn request. And if you don't have my email is maybe Andrea, you can post it also in the chat. But here you're gonna have my email, my LinkedIn. Send me a message, say, "Hey, Pascal, I'd love to come and have lunch with you and discuss about our solution." I would be happy to do it. That's always very nice. I like that. So now we'll take the Q&A. Thank you all for listening.
Yes, we have no questions at the moment. Perhaps some of you wants to like write it on the chat or on the question tab, or otherwise, feel free to leave us a comment. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for Pascal for this insightful webinar. There is something on the chat. Wait. I see bare metal is not included in startup program. Are domains included in startup program, Pascal?
Marco, they should, as long as it's in the elements console, it should be covered. And for the bare metal part, it's only the DD box that is not covered. The elastic metal is. That's
Great.
more product side, Mathieu, regarding the inference as a service. I think it's coming. I believe it's in private beta at the moment, and but should come very quick.
Great. I don't know if you have, Mathieu is typing. Mulgar is typing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for attending. You're going to receive an email with the replay in case you want to revisit the content. And looking forward to seeing you in our next webinars and events. And if you are in Paris, as Pascal mentioned, feel free to drop by. La Maison Paris is always open for you. Thank you so much. See you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.